The morning sun cast long shadows across the Kepler 442b research station as Dr. Han Wu checked the perimeter sensors for the third time. The readings showed the same troubling pattern they had displayed for weeks. Large heat signatures moving, closer to the human settlement each night then disappearing before dawn. Wu wiped sweat from his forehead and adjusted his field scanner. The planet was beautiful but deadly. Purple grass swayed in the alien breeze and crystal formations sparkled like diamonds in the distance. But beauty meant nothing when creatures the size of earth elephants hunted in the forests beyond their protective barriers. Still worried about our midnight visitors? Park Na approached with 2 cups of synthetic coffee. Her voice carried the exhaustion they all felt after months on this hostile world. Wu accepted the warm cup gratefully. The Thornbacks are getting bolder. Commander Lee counted at least 5 different heat signatures last night. They are studying us. Park Na nodded and sipped her coffee. The Thornbacks were the apex predators of this world. Standing 4 meters tall with thick armored skin and razor-sharp spines running down their backs, they had killed 12 colonists in the past year. Their intelligence made them even more dangerous. Unlike simple beasts, Thornbacks planned their attacks and worked together. Maybe they are just curious, Park Na suggested, though her tone revealed she did not believe her own words. A sharp alarm pierced the morning air. Both scientists dropped their cups and ran toward the main building. The emergency beacon meant only one thing. Something had breached their perimeter. Commander Li Bin stood in the control room, his face grim as he studied the security displays. His military uniform was crisp despite the early hour, and his hand rested on his sidearm. We have a situation. Motion sensors detected something near the eastern fence 30 minutes ago. Thornback? Wu asked, already reaching for his equipment. Smaller, much smaller. Lee pulled up the thermal imaging. A red blob roughly the size of a human lay motionless against the outer barrier. Could be injured. Could be a trap. Park Na leaned closer to the screen. The heat pattern looks wrong for an adult Thornback. Too small and too cool. Exactly what I was thinking, Lee said. Which is why we are going out there armed and ready for anything. The 3 humans suited up in protective gear and grabbed energy weapons. The walk to the eastern perimeter felt longer than usual. Every shadow could hide a massive predator. Every sound might be the last thing they heard. They found the creature pressed against the energy fence. It was indeed a Thornback, but barely larger than an earth dog. Its armored hide was pale compared to the dark shells of adults, and several of its back spines were broken. Blood seeped from multiple wounds along its side. It is just a baby, Park Na whispered. Commander Lee raised his weapon. Baby or not, it is still a Thornback. We eliminate it before the parents show up looking for revenge. Wait. Wu held up his hand. Look at those injuries. This creature did not attack our fence. Something attacked it. The young Thornback made a soft crying sound. Its large eyes, bright blue instead of the usual predator yellow, looked up at the humans with obvious pain and fear. One of its legs was bent at an unnatural angle. Park Na knelt down despite Lee's sharp warning. It is scared and hurt, just like any injured animal would be. Any injured animal that grows up to eat humans, Lee replied firmly. We have our orders about hostile wildlife. The baby Thornback continued its soft cries. The sound was nothing like the terrifying roars adult Thornbacks made during attacks. It sounded almost like a earth kitten mewing for its mother. Where is its family? Wu wondered aloud. Young Thornbacks never leave their parents. Something must have happened. Park Na was already opening her medical kit. We can argue about this later. Right now, this creature is dying from blood loss. Park, step away from that thing, Lee ordered. I will not risk human lives for an alien predator. It is a baby, Park Na said firmly. Look at it. Really look. When did we stop caring about young creatures just because they might be dangerous when they grow up? Wu found himself agreeing with Park Na. The injured creature was clearly an infant. Its proportions were all wrong for an adult. Large head, small body, oversized eyes. Every Earth species he knew had similar features in their young. Nature seemed to use the same design across the galaxy to make babies appear helpless and worthy of protection. "We are not on Earth," Lee reminded them. "Earth rules do not apply here. That thing's parents have killed more humans than any other species on this planet." The baby Thornback tried to stand but collapsed again. Its cries grew weaker. Without immediate medical attention, it would die within the hour. Park Na began treating the wounds despite Lee's protests. "I became a scientist to study life, not to watch it die needlessly." Wu helped her by holding the creature still. Its skin felt warm and surprisingly soft where it was not armored. The baby did not try to bite or attack them. Instead, it seemed to understand they were helping and held very still during treatment. "This is against every protocol we have," Lee said, but he lowered his weapon. "Sometimes protocols are wrong," Park Na replied as she sealed a particularly deep cut. "This creature needs our help." As they worked, Wu noticed something interesting. The baby's injuries were clearly from claws and fangs. Bite marks covered its legs and back. Something hunted this little one. Probably killed its family and left it for dead. The young Thornback's breathing began to steady as Park Na's medical treatment took effect. Its eyes, which had been dim with pain, began to brighten. When Park Na offered it water from her supply bottle, the creature drank eagerly. "It trusts us," Wu observed with amazement. Lee shook his head but did not argue further. "We treat it and then we release it far from the colony. I will not have adult Thornbacks tracking their young to our front door." But as they prepared to move the recovering creature, a deep rumble echoed from the forest. Then another. The ground trembled slightly under their feet. "Footsteps," Lee whispered, raising his weapon again. "Big ones." 3 massive shapes emerged from the tree line. Adult Thornbacks, each one large enough to crush a human with one step. Their yellow eyes glowed with intelligence and something else, something that looked almost like concern. The baby Thornback made excited chirping sounds when it saw the adults. One of the massive creatures, larger than the others, approached slowly. Its eyes moved from the injured young one to the 3 humans. For a long moment, nobody moved. 3 humans faced 3 apex predators in tense silence. The adult Thornbacks had every advantage: speed, size, natural weapons, and numbers in their favor. Then the largest Thornback did something unexpected. It lowered its massive head toward the injured baby and made soft rumbling sounds. The same protective, comforting sounds that Earth mammals made to their young. "It is the parent," Park Na breathed. It came looking for its child. The adult Thornback looked directly at her. Its yellow eyes seemed to study the medical supplies in her hands, the treated wounds on its offspring, and the gentle way she had been holding the injured creature. Slowly, carefully, the massive predator stepped back. It was giving them space to finish their work. Commander Lee lowered his weapon completely. "I have never seen anything like this." For the next hour, the humans continued treating the young Thornback while its family waited patiently nearby. When Park Na finally declared the creature stable enough to move, the adult Thornbacks approached again. The largest one gently picked up its offspring and turned to leave. But before disappearing into the forest, it looked back at the 3 humans. One more time. Who could have sworn the massive creature nodded at them? A gesture of acknowledgement, perhaps even gratitude. As the Thornback family disappeared into the purple grass, Park Na smiled for the first time in weeks. "We just helped save a life. We just changed everything," Wu replied, watching the forest, where the creatures had vanished. "I think we just made first contact." Commander Lee holstered his weapon and shook his head in wonder. Command is never going to believe this report. None of them realized that their act of compassion had been observed by more than just the Thornback family. Deep in the forest, other eyes watched. Other intelligent predators had seen humans risk their lives to save the young of their greatest enemy. The word would spread quickly through the alien ecosystem. Humans were different. Humans protected the young, even the young of their predators. And, on a world where survival depended on the protection of offspring, That difference would soon matter more than any of them could imagine. 3 weeks had passed since the incident with the injured thornback cub. Dr. Han Wu stood at his observation post, watching the forest edge through high-powered binoculars. The daily routine had become almost comfortable. Every morning at exactly 700 hours, the large thornback appeared at the tree line. There it is again, Wu called to Park Na, who was reviewing data at her workstation. She looked up from her screens. Same spot as yesterday? Same spot. Same time. It just stands there and watches us for about 20 minutes, then disappears. Wu lowered his binoculars. I think it is the same one that came for the injured cub. The parent. Park Na joined him at the window. The massive creature stood motionless among the purple grass, its yellow eyes clearly visible even at this distance. It is definitely watching our activities. Look how its head follows the maintenance crew. Commander Li Bin entered the observation room with his morning coffee. His attitude toward the thornback visits had softened considerably since the rescue incident. Any changes in behavior today? Nothing new, Wu replied. But I've been thinking, this is not random behavior. Thornbacks are territorial hunters. They do not waste time on activities that do not benefit them. Maybe it is planning an attack, Li suggested, though his tone lacked conviction. For 3 weeks? Park Na shook her head. If it wanted to attack, we would be dead already. Thornbacks do not need 3 weeks to plan an assault on a research station. The communication console beeped softly. Kim Jae, their communications specialist, turned from his equipment with a puzzled expression. I am picking up regular sound patterns from the forest, low-frequency rumbles that repeat every few minutes. Wu and Park Na exchanged glances. Could you play them for us? Wu asked. Kim Jae adjusted his audio equipment. Deep rhythmic sounds filled the room. They were clearly artificial, not natural forest noise. The pattern repeated exactly every 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That is not random, Park Na said immediately. Those are deliberate signals. The thornback? Li asked. Has to be, Wu confirmed. Nothing else in the forest makes sounds like that. But why? Their answer came 2 hours later when Kim Jae made a discovery that changed everything. The sound patterns match our perimeter alarm system, he announced excitedly. Listen. He played the forest sounds alongside a recording of their security system activation. The rhythm was identical. It is copying our technology, Park Na breathed. The thornback is trying to communicate using our own signal patterns. Wu felt a chill run down his spine. Intelligence level far higher than we estimated. It has been studying our systems and learning how we communicate. Commander Li frowned. Should I be worried or impressed? Both, Wu replied honestly. That afternoon brought an even bigger surprise. Maintenance Chief Oh Dong was checking the eastern perimeter when he made a shocking discovery. Commander Li, you need to see this immediately. The entire research team gathered at the fence line. Laid out in a neat row were 6 freshly killed razorwings. The bird-like creatures were considered a delicacy among the human colonists, but hunting them was nearly impossible. Their razor-sharp feathers and lightning-fast speed made them extremely dangerous prey. Someone left us dinner, Odong said, with amazement. Park Na knelt next to the dead creatures. These kills are fresh, maybe 2 hours old, and look at the precision of these wounds. Single strike to each one. Whatever killed them was incredibly skilled. The thornback, Wu said with certainty. It brought us food. Li picked up one of the razor wings and examined it carefully. Prime meat. Better quality than anything our hunting parties have managed to bring back. It is a gift, Park Na said. Many Earth predators bring food to creatures they want to form relationships with. Wolves do it. Big cats do it. It is a sign of respect and alliance. Kim Jae was already setting up his equipment. If it wants to communicate, maybe we can respond. I can modify our speakers to produce low-frequency sounds similar to what we have been hearing. For the next 2 hours, Kim Jae worked on creating a basic communication system. When the thornback appeared for its evening observation period, they were ready. Kim Jae activated the speakers. A deep rumble, similar to the sounds from the forest, echoed across the clearing. The thornback's head snapped toward the research station immediately. It heard us, Wu whispered. The massive creature took 3 steps closer to the fence. Then it made its own sound. A different pattern from the morning signals. This one was shorter and higher in pitch. "Play it back," Park Na urged. Kim Jae replayed. The thornback's new sound pattern. The creature responded immediately with what could only be described as an approving rumble. Then it did something that made every human present catch their breath. The thornback lowered its massive head in what looked exactly like a bow. "Did that thing just show us respect?" Lee asked in disbelief. "I think it did more than that," Wu replied. "I think it just accepted our attempt at communication." Over the following days, the relationship between the humans and their unexpected neighbor grew stronger. The thornback, whom they had started calling Guardian, continued bringing food gifts. Fresh meat appeared every morning, always the best, cuts from the most difficult prey. More importantly, Guardian began responding to their basic signal attempts. Kim Jae developed a simple system of tones and rhythms. One pattern meant, "Thank you." Another meant, "Hello." A third meant, "Goodbye." Guardian learned them all within a week. "It is definitely trying to build a relationship with us," Park Na observed, during one of their daily communication sessions. But why? What does an apex predator want from humans? Their answer came during the worst storm the colony had experienced. Hurricane-force winds battered the research station while sheets of alien rain turned the ground into a muddy swamp. The colonists huddled inside their reinforced buildings, waiting for the weather to pass. That was when the shadowhounds attacked. The pack of wolf-like predators had been driven from their normal hunting grounds by the storm. Desperate and hungry, they surrounded the research station in the middle of the night. Their venomous fangs could kill a human in minutes, and their pack-hunting tactics made them nearly unstoppable. Commander Lee was organizing the defense when a sound unlike anything they had heard before shook the entire station. A roar so deep and powerful it seemed to come from the planet itself. "Guardian," Wu whispered. Through the storm, they could see massive shapes moving in the darkness. Guardian had arrived, and it had brought others. 3 adult thornbacks charged into the pack of shadowhounds with devastating effect. The battle was brief and brutal. The shadowhounds were skilled hunters, but they were no match for creatures twice their size with natural armor and razor-sharp spines. Within minutes, the pack was scattered or dead. As the storm cleared, Guardian approached the research station fence. It was wounded. Deep claw marks ran along its left side, and one of its spines was cracked. But its eyes showed satisfaction. It had protected the humans. Park Na grabbed her medical kit without hesitation. "Open the gate. Are you insane?" Lee demanded. "That creature just risked its life to protect us," Park Na replied firmly. "The least we can do is treat its wounds." For the first time since the colony was established, a human being walked outside the protective barriers and approached a thornback voluntarily. Guardian waited patiently as Park Na cleaned and bandaged its injuries. The massive predator never moved, never showed any sign of aggression. When she finished, Guardian made a sound they had never heard before. A gentle, almost musical rumble that somehow conveyed contentment and gratitude. "It is thanking us," Kim Jae said from where he stood recording everything. "Just like we thanked it for the food gifts." Guardian turned to leave but paused at the edge of the forest. It looked back at the humans one more time, then made the goodbye signal they had taught it. As the massive creature disappeared into the trees, Commander Lee shook his head in wonder. "We are not just studying alien life anymore. We are living with it." "More than that," Wu replied, watching the spot where Guardian had vanished. "We have made our first alien friend." But none of them realized that their alliance with Guardian was about to attract attention from beyond their world. In the depths of space, other intelligences were watching human colonies with growing concern. The Galactic Council had strict rules about how civilized species should interact with dangerous predators, and humanity was breaking every single one of those rules. 2 months after first contact with Guardian, Dr. Han Wu received a communication that changed everything he thought he knew about human-alien relationships. The message came from the mining colony on Kepler 438c, 4 light-years away. "You are not going to believe this," Colonel Park Ray said through the video link. Her weathered face showed exhaustion but also excitement. We just had our own thornback incident. Wu leaned forward in his chair. Thornbacks do not exist on 438C. The ecosystem reports show only mineral-based life forms. Not thornbacks, something called crystal wings. Flying predators with diamond-hard talons that can slice through our mining equipment like paper. Park Ray held up a chunk of gleaming blue crystal. They have been dropping these rare minerals at our main facility for 6 weeks now. Dropping them? Park Na asked from across the room. She had been listening to the conversation with growing amazement. Piles of them. Every morning we find perfectly cut crystal formations outside our doors, the best quality gems we have ever seen on this planet. Park Ray turned the crystal in her hands, catching the light. It started after we rescued some injured crystal-winged juveniles from a cave-in. Wu felt his heart racing. Tell me exactly what happened. 3 young crystal wings got trapped when one of our mining explosions caused a rock slide. My team could have left them there. Crystal wings have killed 14 miners this year alone, but the youngsters were crying for help. Park Ray paused, her expression growing thoughtful. They sounded so much like earth birds in distress that we could not ignore them. So you rescued them, Park Na said. Spent 18 hours digging them out by hand. Could not use heavy equipment without risking another collapse. When we finally freed them, their parents showed up. Park Ray smiled. I thought we were dead. Instead, the adult crystal wings just watched us release their young, then flew away. And the next morning, you found crystals. Wu finished. Every morning since. Plus, they have been protecting our mining sites from other predators. Nothing attacks our facilities anymore. It is like we have invisible guardians watching over us. After the communication ended, Wu sat in stunned silence. Park Na paced the room, her mind clearly racing through the implications. 2 separate colonies, 2 different predator species, same pattern of behavior, she said finally. It cannot be a coincidence, Wu agreed. There has to be something about humans that triggers this response. Their discussion was interrupted by Kim Jae rushing into the room with a data tablet clutched in his hands. I have been monitoring colony communications all morning. We are not the only ones. The tablet displayed a list of recent reports from human settlements across the galaxy. Mining colony Tau 7 reported partnership with pack-hunting creatures called Bone Crusher Wolves. Agricultural Station Zeta Prime had formed an alliance with massive herbivores that protected crops from insect swarms. Even the military outpost on Rigel 4 reported cooperative behavior from local predators after human soldiers rescued trapped alien youngsters. 15 different colonies, Kim Jae said breathlessly. 12 different predator species, all showing the same pattern. Humans help injured young aliens. Adult aliens start protecting human settlements. Park Na stopped pacing. This is not random behavior. This is not even unusual alien intelligence. This is something else entirely. We need expert analysis, Wu decided. I am requesting a xenopsychologist from Earth Command. 3 weeks later, Dr. Yoon Mi arrived on the first available transport. She was younger than Wu had expected, with sharp eyes and an intensity that reminded him of Park Na. Her reputation as the galaxy's leading expert on alien behavioral patterns had earned her assignments on dozens of worlds. I have reviewed all the reports, she said without preamble as she stepped off the transport. What you describe should be impossible according to everything we know about predator psychology. Wu led her to the observation post where Guardian made his daily appearances. See for yourself. Right on schedule, the massive thornback emerged from the forest. But today was different. Guardian was not alone. A smaller figure walked beside him, the injured cub, now healthy and growing rapidly. The offspring, Dr. Yoon breathed. It brought its offspring to show you. Guardian approached the fence and made the greeting sound Kim Jae had taught him. The young thornback copied the sound perfectly, clearly learning communication patterns from its parent. Incredible, Dr. Yoon whispered. Multi-generational learning. It is teaching its young to communicate with humans. Over the following days, Dr. Yoon observed every aspect of the human-thornback relationship. She recorded Guardian's daily visits, analyzed the food gifts, and studied the communication attempts. But her most important work happened in the archives. "I have been researching Galactic Council records," she announced during a team meeting. "What I found is disturbing." Dr. Yoon activated a holographic display showing data from dozens of alien civilizations. Every spacefaring species in the galaxy follows the same development pattern. They begin as nurturing societies that care for their young and show some empathy toward other species. But as they advance technologically, they lose these traits. Why? Park Na asked. Efficiency, resource competition, survival pressures. Dr. Yoon highlighted specific data points. Caring for other species' offspring uses energy and resources that could be spent on your own survival. Over millions of years of evolution, most civilizations eliminate these wasteful behaviors. Wu studied the data with growing unease. Most civilizations, but not all. Humans are unique, Dr. Yoon confirmed. We are the only known species that maintains strong protective instincts toward other species young, even after achieving space travel. Every other civilization in the Council considers this behavior primitive and dangerous. Dangerous how? Commander Lee asked. Dr. Yoon brought up another set of records. Because it works. Every human colony that has formed these alliances shows dramatically improved survival rates, lower predator attacks, better resource acquisition, more successful long-term settlements. The Council does not like competition, Park Na realized. The Council does not understand it, Dr. Yoon corrected. They have spent thousands of years believing that emotional responses to other species young are evolutionary mistakes. Humanity proves them wrong. The implications hit Wu like a physical blow. They are going to try to stop us. Dr. Yoon nodded grimly. I intercepted communications before leaving Earth. A Council inspection team is already en route to this system. They want to study human colonization methods and determine if they pose a threat to galactic stability. A threat? Lee asked incredulously. We are helping predator species survive. That is exactly the problem, Dr. Yoon replied. The Council's method is simple. When you colonize a world, you eliminate or avoid dangerous predators. Humans are doing the opposite. We are making them stronger and teaching them to cooperate. Kim Jae looked up from his communication equipment. I am detecting incoming vessels on the edge of the system. Large ships. Configuration matches Council. Enforcement fleets. Through the observation window, Guardian stood at the forest edge as always. But today, other shapes moved in the shadows behind him. More thornbacks. Other predator species. Word had spread through the alien ecosystem that humans were different. They know something is coming, Park Na observed. Look how many are gathering. The question is, Dr. Yoon said quietly, will they stand with us or against us when the Council arrives? Wu watched Guardian turn toward the forest and make a series of complex sounds. Other creatures answered from the depths of the trees. Different species, different calls, but somehow coordinated. I think, Wu said slowly, we are about to find out what happens when you show kindness to the apex predators of an entire world. The Council ships were 3 days away. 3 days to prepare for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of this colony, but the future of human expansion across the galaxy. In the forest, Guardian and his growing alliance of predators prepared for something that had never happened in their world's history. For the first time, natural enemies would unite to protect the strange creatures that had shown kindness to their young. The humans had no idea they were about to witness the birth of an interspecies military alliance unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Galactic Council ships descended from the sky like mechanical storm clouds. 3 massive vessels, each one larger than the entire human research station, settled onto the planet's surface with precision that spoke of advanced technology, far beyond human capabilities. Dr. Han Wu stood at the observation window, watching alien figures emerge from the ships. The Scalans moved with reptilian grace, their green skin gleaming in the alien sunlight. The hive minds flowed like liquid metal, individual units combining and separating in patterns that hurt to watch. Behind them came other species, all united in their mission to evaluate human colonization methods. Impressive show of force, Commander Lee Bin muttered, adjusting his dress uniform. They brought enough firepower to level half the continent. Dr. Yun-Mi reviewed her data tablets one final time. Remember, they are not here to negotiate. They are here to judge. Everything we say will be analyzed and reported back to the council. Chambers. The lead Scallon, identified as High Evaluator Kess, entered the research station with the authority of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. His yellow eyes scanned the human facility with obvious disapproval. Dr. Wu, Kess spoke. In perfect human language, though his reptilian accent made every word sound like a threat. We have reviewed the reports of your unusual activities with local predator species. We prefer to call them partnerships, Wu replied carefully. Partnerships. Kess repeated the word as if it left a bad taste in his mouth. You realize that thornbacks are classified as level 5 predators. Council protocols require complete elimination or avoidance of such species during colonization. Dr. Yun stepped forward. With respect, High Evaluator, our methods have proven more effective than traditional approaches. Colony survival rates have improved by 40% across all human settlements. A hive mind unit flowed closer, its metallic voice emanating from speakers throughout its body. Effectiveness is not the concern. Stability is the concern. Your methods create unpredictable variables in established ecological systems. Unpredictable? Park Na could not hide her anger. We are saving lives, both human and alien lives. You are creating dependency relationships, Kess replied coldly. Predator species that should maintain natural hunting patterns are instead forming artificial alliances. This disrupts planetary ecosystems in ways that cannot be calculated. Commander Lee tried to maintain diplomatic calm. High Evaluator, perhaps if you observed our daily interactions with the local thornbacks, you would understand the benefits of our approach. As if summoned by his words, the familiar sound of Guardian's greeting call echoed from the forest. Through the windows, they could see the massive thornback approaching the perimeter fence as always. But today, Guardian was not alone. Behind him, other shapes moved through the purple grass. Dozens of them. Thornbacks, shadowhounds, razorwings, and other predator species that normally avoided each other. They had formed a loose circle around the human settlement. Kess's yellow eyes widened in alarm. What is the meaning of this gathering? They know you are here, Wu realized. They sense a threat to the colony. The hive mind units began flowing together, forming larger, more menacing shapes. This proves our point exactly. Your methods have created an unstable predator alliance. Such formations are unknown in galactic history. Unknown because no one has ever tried cooperation instead of domination, Dr. Yun said firmly. High Evaluator Kess activated a communication device. Council Command, this is Evaluation Team 7. We have confirmed unauthorized predator alliances. Recommend immediate implementation of Protocol 12. Park Na felt ice form in her stomach. What is Protocol 12? Kess turned to face the humans with reptilian coldness. Orbital bombardment of all predator nesting sites within a 50-kilometer radius. Standard procedure for eliminating dangerous wildlife from colony worlds. You cannot do that, Wu said, stepping between Kess and the window. Those creatures have families, young offspring that depend on them for survival. Exactly why the elimination must be complete. The hive mind replied. Juvenile predators grow into adult threats. Logical solution is prevention through extermination. Commander Lee's hand moved instinctively toward his sidearm, then stopped. Even if every human in the colony fought together, they could not defeat the Council's advanced technology. We will not allow you to commit genocide, Park Na declared. You will not allow? Kess made a sound that might have been laughter. Dr. Park, you are a single human on a hostile world. You have no authority to allow or forbid anything. That was when Guardian made a sound unlike anything they had heard before. A deep, resonating call that seemed to shake the very air around them. Every predator in the forest answered. The combined roar of dozens of apex predators created a wall of sound that made the council representatives step backward. Through the observation window, They could see the Predator alliance spreading out, not attacking, but positioning themselves between the human settlement and the Council ships. Thornbacks took positions near the landing site. Razor wings circled overhead. Shadowhounds prowled the perimeter. "They are protecting us," Kim J whispered, in amazement. Kess activated his communicator again. "Council ships, we have a hostile Predator formation surrounding the research facility. Request immediate defensive action." "Negative," came the reply. "Predators are not attacking Council forces. They appear to be defending human settlement, awaiting further orders." "Defending humans from other humans," Dr. Yoon observed. "They understand the political situation better than we gave them credit for." The hive mind units flowed together into a more compact form. "This behavior confirms the danger of human methods. You have weaponized local predators against Council authority." "We have not weaponized anything," Wu replied. "These creatures are acting on their own initiative to protect what they consider part of their territory. Their territory now includes humans," Park Na added. "We are not separate from the ecosystem anymore. We are part of it." High Evaluator. Kess studied the Predator formation with obvious frustration. Council weapons could easily destroy the creatures, but doing so would require firing on beings that were clearly protecting rather than attacking. "Your methods create impossible situations," he said finally. "How can we maintain galactic stability when human colonies form military alliances with apex predators?" "Maybe," Dr. Yoon suggested carefully, "the problem is not human methods. Maybe the problem is assuming that stability requires the elimination of other species." "Preposterous. The Council has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years using proven colonization methods." "Peace through domination," Commander Lee said. "Humans prefer peace through cooperation." Kess turned to face the window again. Guardian stood, directly outside, close enough to touch the energy barrier. The massive Thornback's yellow eyes were fixed on the Council representatives with obvious intelligence. "That creature is evaluating us," Kess realized with alarm. "It understands we represent a threat." "Guardian understands a lot of things," Park Na said, "including the fact that we helped save his child's life." "Guardian?" The hive mind's voice carried electronic disbelief. "You have named a level 5 predator?" "We have befriended a level 5 predator," Wu corrected. "There is a difference." Outside, Guardian made the communication pattern Kim J had taught him. The hello signal. Other predators repeated the sound. Dozens of different species, all using human communication patterns. "They are trying to talk to you," Kim J told the Council representatives. "They want to establish peaceful contact." High Evaluator Kess backed away from the window. "We did not come here to negotiate with animals." "They are not animals," Dr. Yoon said firmly. "They are intelligent beings capable of complex reasoning, emotional bonds, and interspecies cooperation, everything that qualifies for Council membership. Council membership requires technological development. These creatures use no tools, build no cities, travel no space lanes." "They build relationships," Park Na replied. "They create alliances that cross species boundaries. They protect and nurture young that are not their own. Are those not valuable technologies?" For the first time since arriving, Kess showed uncertainty. "The Council will not accept predator species as equal partners in galactic civilization." "Then maybe," Wu said quietly, "it is time for the Council to expand their definition of civilization." The standoff continued as alien sunset painted the sky in shades of purple and gold. Council ships hovering overhead. Predator alliance maintaining protective positions. Humans caught in between, trying to bridge the gap between two completely different philosophies of existence. In the depths of space, more Council ships were approaching. Reinforcements with enough firepower to eliminate every living creature on the planet's surface. The decision had been made in the Council chambers. Humanity had broken too many rules, formed too many impossible alliances, created too many unpredictable variables. The human experiment in cooperative colonization was about to come to a violent end. Dr. Yoon Mi worked through the night, her fingers flying across the data terminals as she dug deeper into the Galactic Council archives than any human had ever gone before. The Council enforcement fleet would arrive in 18 hours, and she was running out of time to find answers. There has to be something, she muttered, scanning through files that dated back thousands of years. Some explanation for why humans are different. Park Na brought her another cup of coffee and looked over her shoulder at the scrolling data. What exactly are you looking for? Proof that we are not crazy, Dr. Yoon replied without looking up. Every species in the galaxy cannot be wrong about predator relationships, but every human colony cannot be wrong either. Outside, Guardian and his alliance maintained their protective circle around the research station. The massive creatures had not moved in 12 hours, showing a level of patience and coordination that impressed even High Evaluator Kess. Dr. Han Wu joined them at the terminal. The council representatives are getting nervous. They keep requesting permission to begin preliminary bombardment. Let them wait, Dr. Yoon said firmly. I am close to something important. Her breakthrough came at 3 a.m. Buried in the deepest layers of council historical records, she found references to something called the Nurturing Protocols, ancient documents that described behavioral patterns from the early days of galactic civilization. Found it, she announced, her voice filled with excitement and horror in equal measure. The files told a story that changed everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. 10,000 years ago, when the first council members achieved space travel, they all exhibited the same behaviors that humans showed today. Scalon explorers rescued injured alien young on dozens of worlds. Hive-mind colonies formed protective alliances with local predators. Every species showed instinctive compassion toward other species' offspring. They were like us, Park Na breathed, reading over Dr. Yoon's shoulder. All of them were like us. Were, Dr. Yoon emphasized. Past tense. Look at what happened next. The record showed a gradual change over millennia. Resource conflicts between expanding civilizations led to competition for habitable worlds. Compassionate behaviors toward other species were seen as weaknesses that could be exploited by enemies. Gradually, each species eliminated their nurturing instincts toward alien life forms. Evolution in reverse, Wu realized. They trained themselves to stop caring. Survival of the coldest, Dr. Yoon agreed. The civilizations that showed mercy toward other species lost territory to those that did not. Eventually, only the ruthless ones survived to form the council. But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. Dr. Yoon found classified psychological evaluations of council members dating back 5,000 years. The reports showed clear evidence of what the files called empathy deficit syndrome. They are not naturally cold, she announced. They made themselves cold through genetic and psychological manipulation. Look at these brain scans. The images showed dramatic differences between ancient council members and modern ones. Entire sections of the brain related to emotional bonding and protective instincts had been systematically suppressed. They lobotomized themselves, Park Na said in horror, an entire galaxy of species that cut out the parts of their brains that made them care about other life forms. And they have been ruling galactic civilization for thousands of years, Wu added grimly. Commander Li Bin entered the research lab with his communication equipment. The council fleet has arrived, 15 ships this time. They are demanding immediate compliance with evacuation protocols. Dr. Yoon stood up from her terminal, her face set with determination. Patch me through to High Evaluator Kess. I need to show him something that will change his perspective on human behavior. Dr. Yoon, Kess's reptilian voice came through the speakers. You have 1 hour to begin evacuation procedures before we commence elimination of hostile wildlife. High Evaluator, I have discovered something in the council archives that you need to see. Information about the nurturing protocols. The silence that followed was so complete that Dr. Yoon wondered if the connection had been lost. Finally, Kess spoke, his voice strangely subdued. How do you know that term? Because I have been reading your own historical records. The records that show what your species used to be like before you eliminated your capacity for empathy. Another long pause. Dr. Yoon, you will report to Council Ship 1 immediately. Come alone. An hour later, Dr. Yoon stood in the council command chamber facing representatives of a dozen different alien species. The advanced technology surrounding her was impressive, but what struck her most was the complete absence of anything resembling warmth or comfort. Everything was designed for efficiency, nothing for emotional well-being. "Show us what you have found," Kess demanded. Dr. Yoon activated her portable data unit and projected the ancient records into the chamber's holographic display. Images of young scalens caring for alien creatures filled the air. Records of hive mind colonies forming, emotional bonds with predator species, documentation of behaviors that were identical to current human actions. "This is classified information," the hive mind representative stated, its metallic voice showing strain. "These records are restricted for security purposes." "Restricted, because they prove that humans are not acting abnormally," Dr. Yoon replied. "We are acting the way all intelligent species act before they train themselves to stop caring." Kess studied the projected images with expressions that Dr. Yoon had never seen on a Scalan face before. Something that looked almost like sadness. "These behaviors were eliminated for good reason," he said finally. "Empathy toward other species leads to resource conflicts and territorial disputes. The galaxy has been peaceful because we learned to prioritize our own survival." "Peaceful for whom?" Dr. Yoon challenged. "Your records show that you have eliminated over 300 predator species during colonization efforts, species that might have become allies instead of victims." The chamber fell silent. Dr. Yoon continued her presentation, showing statistical analysis of human colony success rates compared to traditional council methods. Human colonies show 40% better survival rates, 60% fewer casualties, and 80% better resource acquisition. Cooperation works better than elimination. "Temporary advantages," the hive mind replied, but its voice lacked conviction. "Long-term stability requires predictable parameters." "Long-term stability requires adaptation," Dr. Yoon countered. "Humans adapt to local ecosystems instead of destroying them. We work with predators instead of against them. We treat young as worthy of protection instead of viewing them as future threats." High Evaluator. Kess turned away from the holographic display. "Even if your analysis is correct, the Council cannot change its fundamental approaches. 10,000 years of policy cannot be overturned because one species maintains outdated emotional responses." "Outdated?" Dr. Yoon felt anger rising in her voice. "High Evaluator, look at your own psychological evaluations. Your species has depression, rates of 90%. Suicide rates that require constant pharmaceutical intervention. Social isolation so severe that most council." The dawn of the next day brought an eerie silence to Kepler 442b. The council deliberations had continued through the night, while Guardian and his alliance maintained their protective circle around the human settlements. Dr. Han Wu stood at the observation window, watching the massive thornback who had started it all. "Any word from the council ships?" Park Na asked, joining him with 2 cups of coffee. "Nothing since Dr. Yoon returned 6 hours ago," Wu replied. "But something is happening. Look at the Predator Alliance." The circle of creatures had grown during the night. Not just local species, but predators from across the continent. Flying creatures perched in the trees. Burrowing species emerged from underground tunnels. Even the massive sea predators from the coastal regions had somehow made the journey inland. "It is like they all received the same message," Park Na observed. "Every apex predator on the planet has come to protect us." Kim Jae's voice crackled. "Through the communication system. All stations, we have movement from the council ships, multiple vessels approaching the surface." Dr. Yoon Mi rushed into the observation room, her face pale with exhaustion and tension. "They have made their decision. High Evaluator Kess requested a final meeting with our leadership team." Commander Lee Bin gathered the senior staff, and they walked outside the protective barriers for the first time in weeks. Guardian watched their approach but did not move from his position. The massive thornback's yellow eyes tracked the council representatives as they disembarked from their shuttle. High Evaluator Kess looked different. The rigid posture and cold expression had been replaced by something Wu had never seen in a council member before. Uncertainty, maybe even vulnerability. "Dr. Wu, Kess began, his reptilian voice softer than usual. The Council has reached a decision regarding human colonization methods. Wu braced himself for the worst. And what decision is that? We are suspending elimination protocols pending further investigation, Kess announced. The evidence Dr. Yoon presented has raised questions that require deeper analysis. Park Na stepped forward. What kind of questions? The hive mind representative flowed closer, its metallic surface reflecting the alien sunlight. Questions about our own development, about what we may have lost in our pursuit of efficiency and control. We have been reviewing our historical records, Kess continued, documents that have been classified for millennia. What we found matches Dr. Yoon's analysis. We were not always as we are now. Wu felt a glimmer of hope. Are you saying the Council is willing to reconsider its approach to predator species? We are saying, Kess replied carefully, that the Council is willing to observe human methods for an extended period to determine if cooperation truly produces better results than elimination. Commander Lee raised an eyebrow. You want to study us? We want to learn from you, the hive mind corrected, if such learning is still possible for species that have modified ourselves as extensively as we have. That was when Guardian made a decision that surprised everyone present. The massive Thornback left his position in the Alliance circle and approached the Council representatives directly. His movement caused every human and alien to tense, but Guardian showed no signs of aggression. Instead, he stopped 3 meters from High Evaluator Kess and made the greeting sound Kim Jae had taught him months earlier, the simple hello that had started their interspecies communication. Kess stared at the massive predator in shock. It is attempting to communicate with us. Guardian has been trying to communicate with everyone since this began, Dr. Yoon explained. He understands that you represent authority figures. He wants to establish peaceful contact. Guardian repeated. The greeting sound then added something new. A longer, more complex pattern that Kim Jae had never heard before. What is he saying? Kess asked. Kim Jae activated his recording equipment and played the sound back through his analyzers. I think he is trying to say protected young. The pattern matches the sounds he makes when checking on his own offspring. He is telling you that he protects human young, Park Na realized. He is claiming us as part of his family group. The implications of Guardian's statement rippled through both human and Council representatives. This was not just an alliance or a partnership. In the alien predator's mind, humans had become family. Extended pack members worthy of the same protection. He would give his own offspring. Remarkable, the hive mind whispered. Interspecies adoption behavior. We eliminated such responses from our own psychology 10,000 years ago. High Evaluator Kess took a step closer to Guardian. The massive Thornback remained perfectly still, allowing the much smaller alien to approach without showing any defensive behaviors. For millions of years, Kess said quietly, my species has believed that survival required the elimination of emotional bonds with other life forms. We taught ourselves that caring was weakness. He reached out tentatively and touched Guardian's armored hide. The Thornback rumbled softly, a sound of acceptance rather than threat. But this creature risks its life to protect beings that are not even the same species, and it does so not from training or programming, but from genuine emotional attachment. Kess looked back at the human researchers. How do you inspire such loyalty? We do not inspire it, Wu replied. We earn it, by showing the same care toward their young that we would show toward our own. Over the following days, the Council representatives observed every aspect of the human-predator alliance. They watched Guardian bring food gifts each morning. They recorded the complex communication patterns that had developed between species. They documented the protective behaviors that kept human settlements safe from other threats. But the most important moment came when hive mind infiltrators, acting on old programming, attempted to eliminate several predator cubs to break the alliance. The attack happened so quickly that even the advanced Council sensors almost missed it. 3 metallic shapes separated from the main hive mind group and moved toward the nursery area, where young Thornbacks played under their parents' watchful eyes. Their intent was clear. Kill the offspring to destroy the emotional bonds that held the alliance together. They never reached their targets. Park Na threw herself between the infiltrators and a young thornback, taking a deep metallic blade through her shoulder. Dr. Yoon shielded two shadowhound pups with her own body, ignoring the claws that raked across her back. Even Commander Lee abandoned his weapons to place himself between Alien Young and the attackers. The response from the Predator Alliance was swift and decisive. Guardian's roar shook the ground as he charged the infiltrators. Other adult predators moved to protect not just their own young, but the humans who had sacrificed themselves for alien offspring. Within minutes, the threat was neutralized, but the damage was done. 3 humans lay bleeding from wounds received while protecting creatures that could have killed them with a single swipe. High Evaluator. Kes stood over Park Na as Dr. Yoon treated her injuries. Why? He asked simply. Why would you risk death for offspring that are not your own species? Park Na looked up at him through pain-clouded eyes. Because they are children, she said simply, and children deserve protection no matter what species they belong to. Guardian approached the injured humans and made a sound none of them had heard before, a deep, mournful call that echoed across the landscape. Every predator in the Alliance answered with their own species equivalent. They are mourning for you. Kim Jae translated through his tears. They understand that you were wounded protecting their young. But Guardian was not finished. The massive thornback moved to each of the injured humans and gently touched them with his snout. Then he turned to face the council representatives and made the most complex sound pattern he had ever attempted. Kim Jae's equipment worked frantically to analyze the message. When the translation appeared on his screen, everyone present fell silent. Family protects family, the massive predator had said. These humans are family now. The formal ceremony took place 1 week later. Representatives from every major predator species on the planet gathered at the research station. Guardian, as the eldest and most respected apex predator, led the ritual. High Evaluator. Kes watched in amazement as creatures that had been mortal enemies for millions of years stood together, in unity. In all of Council history, we have never witnessed anything like this. Because the Council forgot what makes it possible, Dr. Yoon replied, her arm still in a sling from her injuries. You forgot that the strongest bonds are formed through mutual protection and care. Guardian made the final declaration of the ceremony, a sound that translated roughly to adoption complete. In the Predator Alliance's understanding, humans were now formally part of their extended family structure. Dr. Wu, Kes said as the ceremony concluded, the Council has reached a final decision regarding human colonization methods. Wu tensed, unsure what to expect. We are officially recognizing human colonies as sanctuary worlds, Kes announced. Planets where endangered predator species can safely raise their young under human protection. Furthermore, we are requesting that human advisors assist in developing new Council policies regarding interspecies cooperation. You want us to teach you how to care again, Park Na realized. We want to remember what we used to be, the hive mind replied. Before we decided that survival was more important than living. 5 years later, Dr. Han Wu stood in the same observation post where everything had begun. But the view outside had changed dramatically. Human settlements now existed in harmony with predator communities across dozens of worlds. Guardian's offspring played alongside human children, learning communication patterns that bridged species barriers. The research station had become a training center where Council representatives came to study what they called emotional archaeology, the process of rediscovering empathy and compassion that their species had abandoned millennia ago. Any regrets? Park Na asked, joining him at the window. Her shoulder had healed completely, though she still bore the scars from protecting alien young. Only one, Wu replied. I regret that it took so long for the galaxy to remember what humanity never forgot. Outside, Guardian approached the fence with his daily gift of fresh meat. But today he was not alone. A young council member, a Scalan barely out of adolescence, walked beside him. The young alien was learning to communicate with predators as part of the new council training programs. "Hello, Guardian," the young Scalan said in carefully practiced tones. Guardian responded with the greeting pattern, then added something new, a sound that had never been heard before on any world in the galaxy. "What did he say?" the Scalan asked. Kim J., now Director of Interspecies Communication, smiled as he translated. He said, "Welcome to the family." The young Scalan's eyes widened with an emotion his species had not felt for 10,000 years. Wonder, joy. The beginning of understanding that survival was not just about staying alive, but about having something worth living for. In the depths of space, Council, ships now carried new protocols. Instead of elimination orders, they carried nursery supplies. Instead of weapons designed to destroy predator species, they carried medical equipment to heal injured alien young. The galaxy was learning to care again. And it had all started with one simple act of compassion toward a wounded thornback cub. Humanity had given the universe back its heart, and in return the universe had given humanity a family that spanned the stars.